Mastering emotions is not about shutting them down, hiding them, or pretending everything is okay. It is about transforming the storm inside into clarity, strength, and calm. And when we look for the greatest example of emotional mastery, we don't look at fictional heroes, we look at the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, a real human being who faced fear, grief, betrayal, pressure, loneliness, success, and responsibility, yet remained anchored with remarkable inner balance. He did not become emotionally strong by accident. He trained his heart through reflection, connection with Allah, and deep self-awareness. When fear came, he didn't deny it. He transformed it into trust. When anger rose, he paused until wisdom returned. When sadness appeared, he didn't hide it. He sat with it, understood it, and spoke to Allah about it. Imagine the Prophet, peace be upon him, in the Cave of Hira. The world was quiet. The city below was asleep, and he is alone with his thoughts. No distractions, no noise. This wasn't escape. It was intentional silence. It was emotional training. In that stillness, he learned to observe his thoughts without drowning in them. He learned the power of presence, the ability to stay calm in his own company. Many people today run from silence because silence reveals the truth inside. But the Prophet faced it. He listened to his thoughts until they became clear. He watched his emotions until he understood them. He allowed space for revelation, space for clarity, space for transformation. This is the first key of emotional mastery. When you sit with your emotions instead of fighting them, you learn how to guide them. When the revelation first came and the angel appeared, the prophet felt fear. This fear was real, human, and intense. He ran home and said, "Cover me, cover me." Look carefully. He did not pretend to be strong. He did not hide his feelings. He expressed them. And Allah comforted him, strengthened him, and prepared him. Emotional mastery is not being emotionless. It is being honest with what you feel and then rising above it with understanding. This is the second key. Naming your emotions gives you power over them. The Prophet, peace be upon him, also showed us how to handle anger. He taught us that real strength is not defeating others, it is defeating our own impulses. When a man asked him for advice repeatedly, he kept saying, "Do not get angry." Not because anger is always wrong, but because uncontrolled anger destroys peace, relationships, and even faith. His Sunnah teaches us that when anger rises, you pause, breathe, change your posture, make wudu, or leave the situation. These are psychological tools backed by modern science, yet they were taught more than 1400 years ago. This is emotional intelligence at its highest level. When grief struck, like the death of his beloved wife, Khadija, or the passing of his son, Ibrahim, the Prophet cried. Tears streamed down his face, and when someone asked him why he cried, he said, "This is mercy." He showed that crying is not weakness, it is a sign of a healthy heart. This is emotional balance, feeling pain but not losing faith, feeling sadness but not falling into despair, allowing emotion but not being controlled by it. The Prophet, peace be upon him, also mastered patience, not passive waiting, but active resilience. When he was insulted, he stayed calm. When he was rejected, he stayed focused. When he was attacked, he stayed principled. His emotional strength came from one source, deep connection with Allah. Every night he stood in prayer, releasing stress, renewing strength, and anchoring his soul. This is the greatest lesson. Emotional mastery begins with spiritual grounding.
To master your emotions, like the prophet, peace be upon him, you must learn to pause before you react. Speak to Allah before you speak to anyone else. Observe your thoughts before you judge them. Breathe before you break, and trust that every feeling has a purpose. You don't need to crush your emotions, you need to guide them. And when your heart becomes steady, your mind becomes clear, and your soul finds peace, that is when you rise with prophetic strength, calm, present, unshakable.